Russia. My favorite fictional country, just one step above Paris. I wish this country was real. I wish I could play as this country. I wish I could lead this country into war, but not like that. So I decided I'm going to do just that. Which is why I decided to play as Kislev in Total Warhammer 3. Do be sure to check out the first part of this series of mine where I played as the Bretonnians. I will be referencing that video a lot and comparing the Kislev factions to Bretonia because Bretonia was my first ever faction. However, I'm not just going to be playing as Kislev. I've also installed myself some mods to enhance my experience. Some just make the game better overall, others are specifically there to improve Kislev. I also found this really weird mod that puts all of your Kislevite warriors into like scantily clad outfits and make them all whole women. Who the fuck downloads that shit? Because my brain is the size of an Etruscan shrew, I yet again began to watch a shitload of lore videos about Kislev before realizing this does not matter to this video in the slightest. So then I started the game up and now I can tell you all about how Kislev actually works in the game. In comparison to Bretonia, Kislev is a lot more complicated. So let's get started right away with our first mechanic, the Ice Cord. The Ice Cord is a kind of mid-mechanic that helps you just as much as it hinders you. It allows you to fully customize the heroes you recruit at the cost of having them take 5 turns to be recruited instead of just 1. Our second mechanic is Adamants, where for every 2 provinces you own, you get to hire 1 hero free of charge. This hero is not going to be that effective in battle, but depending on what city you put him in, he's going to put very specific buffs on that city, like making it grow a lot faster. Once you then have a nice and devoted town, that is where the third mechanic comes in, Invoking. If your town is under your control, as in there's no imminent rebellion, you can then select one of 5 buffs to apply to the army stationed in that town for the next 5 turns. And finally, the most complex and important mechanic of all, the court and orthodoxy battle for power. Through the entirety of your campaign, you're going to be needing to research technologies as well as construct buildings that benefit one of these 2 political sides. The more things you have for one political side, the quickly the support from that side for you will be growing. However, if you create an imbalance and only focus on the buffs that, for say, the orthodoxy can give you, then the Ice Court, the other side of the political spectrum, is not going to be happy about that at all and apply massive debuffs to you for your entire campaign until you fix that imbalance. So you gotta watch out that you're not leaning too far in one direction. Now, I'm of the opinion that my intro to this video was a bit on the nose, but just in case you're Voldemort, let me make it clear for you yet again what the strengths of Kislev are in actual battle, because now we're getting into the meaty part, the gameplay. So, Kislev does have a strength. Exactly one, and it is called Tokidoki Bosoto Russia Go de Dereruru Tonari no. What the fuck is this video? In the first video, it was a mistake that I put the intro not at the front of the video. Now it's a feature. Before we actually fully start this campaign, I want to say what exactly my goals here are, my victory conditions. So, we're going to be playing on normal campaign difficulty with easy battle difficulty. The enemies are 3% weaker than they are supposed to be. I have enabled endgame scenarios, but only one, and I've allowed myself to choose what that is, and I chose the biggest wah, because there's no orcs in like the north where all the snow is.
In the business, we call this foreshadowing.
And lastly, my victory conditions are the following. I wanted to complete at least one of the victory routes that the Victory Overhaul mod gives you, and I wanted Corone to be mine. I wanted my throne in Bretonia back. And I would have 2 campaigns of time to fulfill both of these tasks, because I was going to be playing one campaign as Tsarina Katerine and the other as Mother Ostankya. Now, let us get going. As all things, this campaign started with a tutorial. A really fucking hard tutorial. We are instantly put into a war against the Bear Sunling, who are a lot more powerful than us. They have more settlements, they have more units, they have more armies. And it was literally within the first turn where the first battle came. So I fought this army and I won gloriously, even better than what the auto-resolve told me I would be getting. So I was feeling pumped up. Then the second battle came and I got completely destroyed because these guys had somehow gotten themselves ogres on their side. I will get more into how Kislev is on the battlefield within the next part of this video, but just know that after this followed an embarrassing amount of attempts where I got completely wrecked by this faction over and over again until I eventually just gave up and auto-resolved everything until I had at least the intro.
Rival power comes to parley, demanding a change in your mutual relations. Consider them.
Okay, so right after finishing the tutorial, Meth Head Hagrid over here demanded I pay him my entire money so that he doesn't declare war on me. So he declared war on me. So now, not even 2 turns in and I was already fighting my fellow Kislevite brothers. This was going great, so I immediately had to raise an army and walk over there, only to find out that this guy had a massive fortress and there was no way I could ever possibly beat him alone. But thankfully I wasn't alone. It turns out he had also pissed off another Kislev faction with his money demands, and they were marching on his capital too, and so despite not having met these guys ever before, we struck up a temporary alliance and both assaulted this bastard's fort at the same time. It was Kislevite against Kislevite in this bloodthirsty battle. However, with the help of another faction that was helping me majorly in defeating the enemy force within this city, I could focus on only taking over the victory points, and thus this battle was won. And now the campaign could actually begin as we got some steam going. We were getting in our first alliances and trade deals and things were looking good. I was trying to make a big alliance with all of Kislev because knowing the lore, I knew that very soon chaos would be knocking at our doorstep. However, this one faction, who I'm just going to call the Bears because I cannot be bothered to remember their actual name, refused to have any deals with me. So I decided, okay, I'll have to appease these guys in the future. So I put my focus on something else, and that was strengthening my buildings and strengthening my armies. I now had 2 armies, both about equal in power, and one of them was marching further east because there was another Norska tribe that really wanted trouble. And so came another big ass battle where Kislev's power showed itself as we were able to easily defeat these Norska tamed manticores. And I think that this is about as good a time as any for me to get into how Kislev fights. In the cold and harsh lands of Kislev, there is only one rule: adapt or die. And the Kislev army perfectly encaptures this motto. When you look at their units, you will very quickly realize that almost all of them are hybrid units. That means that they take over a role that would usually require 2 or sometimes even 3 units on the battlefield. Just to throw out a few examples, all of their infantry has both a ranged and a melee weapon. Their lords have powerful range-based ice spells, but also lots of more short-ranged healing and support spells. And if you're going into the late game, you will have incredibly powerful monsters that are both strong against other large monsters, but also put debuffs on all nearby small units. Going a bit more into detail, Kislev is decent with its horse cavalry, nowhere near as powerful as Bretonia of course, but still decent. They of course shine in the most Russian thing imaginable, bear cavalry. I mean, really, if you think about it, a bear is just a slower horse that can also maul you to death if you get too close. These also come with sled variants, in which case you have a very powerful unit that can charge through an enemy line and on the way out shoot at them with the guys in the back wagon. However, has the big downside that if it gets caught anywhere, it's done for. That shit is never leaving its place ever again. Kislev also has absolutely no air units. Only with mods are you able to get some air units, and those are weak at best. I mean, I'm literally sending fucking birds at these people. Thankfully, they more than make up for that in the monster front. I mean, we got fucking glacial like an actor up in this bitch. And to finish it all off, all Kislev infantry units also have a special ability where by a time where they're supposed to be running away, they will remain for 30 more seconds on the battlefield. All of this makes Kislev a faction that at the start of the game is completely terrible. Because you've got units that can't do anything. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, okay? But you've got ranged units with the accuracy of a stormtrooper, and you've got melee units with noodle arms. You're going to get destroyed by anything that specializes in either range or melee. However, all of this versatility also means that in the late game you're going to end up with furries. I mean, you're going to end up with an army that is absolutely capable of everything, and the only thing that can stop you is if the enemy has an army perfectly built and organized for a strategy that you cannot counter. Alright, so where were we? We mauled manticores to death with copious amounts of cats. Check. Now we are deep in the east, and I found a giant orc army. The bears still did not want any form of treaty with me, and that was bad because I really wanted Birmingham, I mean Prague. Cause I live in a shithole! Which is why when I saw that Prague was having some issues with a tribe of ogres always raiding them and taking over the settlement I'm zooming in on here, I came up with a plan that I was going to go further east and take out that ogre faction for them. Surely by then they would finally accept a treaty with me. So I did all of that. I fought against the ogres across a whole bunch of turns, ready to return to a beautiful Kislev, a Kislev greater than ever before when I came back, a Kislev age that would be known as the Age of Unification. So let's go to the next part of this video. When I returned to Kislev, absolutely everything was fucked. Norsca and Tzeentch had swept into the lands and destroyed every single Kislev faction but the bears. They were slowly but surely corrupting the entirety of the land. They were slowly but surely destroying the empire, and a Tzeentch Lord of Change was headed directly for my capital.
This is fine.
That not enough for you? I'll do you one better. That orc faction from before also declared war on me. So now I would have had to fight a war on two fronts had I not come up with the really quick and smart idea, and this is not glaze, it actually worked out, of just beginning to trade the ogre settlements I had just taken over to the orcs in return for them stopping their war with me and beginning a war with the Tzeentch faction. It actually worked, and they helped out a lot in taking up the dozens of armies that were headed for my capital, but our alliance would only last for so long. But you want to know what the absolute best part in all of this is? Despite Kislev being like 2 turns away from being wiped off the map, the bears still refused any form of treaty with me. That meant that while I was slowly bringing Catherine back into Kislev, I had to raise a random army out of my ass up in Kislev, the capital city that's called just like our faction, to somehow combat the Lord of Change that was now attacking it. And so, out of the blue, here comes the most important battle of the entire game, because I had put all of my unit construction buildings in Kislev. If Kislev falls, it's over. My brothers and sisters, let the enemy know that just like Russia, Kislev only has 2 sides. Let us show them our worst! They climbed our walls. They swarmed our heroes, and yet it was our pure Kislevite blood that managed to withstand it all. Their Lord of Change fell by the hands of the brave woman wielding big-ass clubs, and soon after the morale of their army broke as well. And while this was only the first and sadly one of the easiest battles to come, it set a precedent that Kislev would not fall. After the Battle of Kislev, hey, would you look at that? The bear people have been killed by the orcs I've been making deals with. The irony. But there was not a lot of time for me to laugh at them, because this Tzeentch faction was beginning to raid and destroy more and more of my settlements. So it was only a matter of time until I took the fight to them, and Kislev had to do its duty of pushing chaos back to from whence it came. The first battle against the All-Seeing Eye was by far the hardest. They had a powerful army, but instead of straight up attacking, chose to draw back until their reinforcements arrived, and only then did they come back swinging with everything that they had. And while this had allowed me to get into a really good, I guess, kind of scissor position, the battle was still an absolute bloodbath. The worst part by far was that my precious bear sleds that I intended to charge in from the side were getting stuck on literally everything. With heavy losses we won our first battle and then began to push the All-Seeing Eye deeper and deeper into its own territory, but it was only a matter of time until the Broken Wheel, another Tzeentch cult, decided to join in. Now we had to fight 2 of these feathered fuckers. So, soon enough, another battle happened, and this one managed to be just as difficult as the former one. After a lot of hardships, we managed to win that battle as well, and with both the Broken Wheels and the All-Seeing Eye's main forces defeated, it was easy for us to take out the rest of their settlements as well, until they were too weak to even attack us anymore. 2 other random things that happened is that I somehow got this bitch called the Golden Knight, who is literally just a weaker Green Knight, and then a settlement I had stolen off the Broken Wheel had a rebellion, so I decided to pull a little prank on them and then just let them have it. Oh, wow. Broken Wheel, Tzeentch. I didn't know you were that type of guy.
Wow, there she is. Starlight Glimmer. She's so much more beautiful in person.
Once that was dealt with, I decided to declare war on the Tusk Sons, the orc faction that I had been in a love-hate relationship with up until this point. Not only because I wanted Prague under my control, but also because the biggest war was just around the corner, and I wanted to at least put a dent in them before it happened. Also, I was craving my final battle as Kislev. But then the biggest war came. And it was for some random orc faction I had never even heard of on the other side of the map that got destroyed in one turn. Even worse, when I then decided to fight the Tusk Sons, their army had just disappeared. They had 3 big-ass armies before. When I began to completely wipe them off the map, they were nowhere to be found, and eventually the faction was just dead. So completely disappointed, I decided to make the final battle the quest battle that I had unlocked, yet again against Tzeentch. Beforehand, in preparation, I decided that I wanted the most powerful unit that Kislev has, the Elemental Bear, a gigantic monster that can completely destroy armies. So naturally I got 10 of them. And just like that, our first campaign was over. We had, in this whole time, actually managed to complete all 3 objectives that our faction has. Now it was time to take back Cologne, and I did that with the faction of Mother Ostankya. It was time to show this modern youth that a woman has much more to stare at than just her. Never mind, they actually got a really good point. Too bad I prefer men. My first impression of the Children of the Woods and Mother Ostankya was very good because she actually has an intro cutscene, which this cinematic aspect is something I've really been missing from the other factions. But then the actual campaign starts and I immediately had 2 really big problems with this faction. For one, the tutorial is complete dog shit. You start out somewhere in Dark Elf territory, and like I'm kind of close to Corone and Bretonnia, so I was like, alright, I can work with this. And then after one turn of doing progress in this area, the game tells you, hey, do you want to move to Kislev or keep playing here? And if you want to use the rest of the Kislev roster, you need to have actually been there. So I of course went to Kislev, only to find myself dropped into a new tutorial, now fighting the German Illuminati tribe or whatever they're called. And I had also taken over some settlements there that are usually owned by the bears, and it was just all very confusing. Another thing that I immediately didn't like is feature bloat, because on top of all of the features that Kislev already has, Mother Ostankya comes with 2 features of her own, where I think that's just too much. Like, they could have absolutely removed both the Ice Court and the Adamant system, because they make no sense for her faction in my opinion, and they make this faction just feel a little bit bloated and unfocused. But the 2 new mechanics that Mother Ostankya has are cool. One of them I like, the other I dislike. The one I dislike is hexes. Basically, Mother Ostankya's whole victory quest is that she's trying to regain her powerful magic, and this powerful magic is split into 6 hexes. Throughout your entire campaign, you're going to be here and there unlocking a new story quest that, upon completion, you get a new hex. Once you have all 5 hexes collected, there's then a super epic final quest for the destructive 6th hex. These hexes are really cool. I only ever ended up unlocking like the first 3 in this campaign, but I had shit like removing all corruption from a province, slowing down an enemy army like 50%, teleporting my army to a forest of magic, stuff like that. Really good stuff. My problem is how you actually go about unlocking the quests for these hexes, because just like Bretonnia had chivalry, the Children of the Woods have a mechanic where for every single thing they do, for every victory they gain spirit essence. And my problem is that these quests for the hexes are for some dumbass reason not gained through achieving a certain amount of spirit essence or through having a certain amount of spirit essence, but through spending it. And you need to spend a lot, which means you either need to completely waste your spirit essence so that you can get the quests, or just not get the quests and until something comes up that needs a lot of spirit essence, which is just dumb. Thankfully, her second mechanic is actually my favorite faction mechanic in the entire game, the Magical Cauldron. Through defeating armies or visiting new places, you unlock trinkets. You can then mix and match these trinkets in your cauldron to craft varying buffs and debuffs you can then, in the combat menu, apply to your enemies and your own units until they die. And these aren't boring buffs. These are buffs like explode upon death, cannot die ever, can shoot from a forest without being detected. It is really, really, really cool what you can do here with all the mixing and matching. Anyways, I've yapped enough. We're back to the campaign map. I've got a great new alliance with the Ice Core, for fuck's sake. Okay, so firstly an arachnophobia warning for you dear viewer, but especially for these Norscan bastards that just took out our Kislev brothers and sisters, because now I'm raiding their settlements. Despite dealing with that tribe and getting a few settlements, I soon realized life in Kislev is kind of ass, who would have guessed. So I gathered all of my units, began to like kind of make an army, and then just began to move out and ventured all the way over to Bretonia, where, and I was very lucky I did that, because if I had come a single turn later, then the Red Duke would have destroyed Cologne before I even had the chance to. He was sieging the city and was about to win. I could not let that happen, so being the good savior that I was, I went in there for Llewellyn Leoncoeur and dealt with his problem. It was very nice to see the Royal Castellan join the fight towards the end though, even though he did absolutely nothing. With Cologne saved, I could very easily settle myself in next to them, even taking some Bretonian territory, which they didn't mind because I had just saved their ass. Obviously, they would still be very whiny about me owning Bretonian territory. Wow, we don't want a defensive alliance, we don't want any alliance, we don't even want to give you money for that fact. They were very pissy, but I didn't even really need an alliance because Kislev's infrastructure and economy are all very strong, allowing me to make a good income by having just like 5 settlements or so. That allowed me to slowly but surely build up a good army and take on some of the quest battles for the powerful hexes, which I never ended up using, so I don't know why I did these. Well, they were at the very least fun. My favorite one being this one where you're going to a big-ass cave and have to fight a bunch of dark elves with tamed beasts, and halfway through the game, for some fucking reason, decides, oh yeah, actually, you know what, this game needs boss fights. I'm not complaining, but I was not expecting a 2-headed ice chaos dragon to fly out there and begin wrecking my army, requiring me to send in everything I got to take him out. Oh yeah, also this guy, I think he's watched a bit too much of the romance anime and he's realizing that he's gonna die alone. Don't worry, buddy. I'm with you. We're all with you. Anyways, who wants to see the entire world fall into war? Yes, I do, because I declared war on Cologne, and yeah, what the fuck, he's in alliance with everyone. So I had to get this done really quickly unless I wanted to get destroyed. So I took everything I had, absolutely everything, marched to Cologne, and it was time for, dare I say, the most epic battle I have ever fought in this game up until this point. The final battle is at hand, brothers and sisters! One falls, one stands, and let it be known that I do not hide my feelings in Russian. My feelings are Russian! March on, comrades! Hurrah! It took a good half an hour to fight our way through the streets of Cologne, but eventually we reached the royal castle, and we stormed in, and we took the throne. I owned Cologne. Hey, that rhymed. But now I had officially finished my goal as Kislev. I could rest. So yeah, if you watched this entire video, thank you so much for doing so. It took a lot of effort to get this done. I hope to see you in the next one as well. And as always, remember, even if the whole world is your enemy, I remain your ally. As long as you don't have a throne I want. See you in the next one.